Good morning from WKYT News. I'm Bill Bryant, and we welcome you to Kentucky Newsmakers. In just a few minutes, we'll be hearing about the first ever Downtown Lexington Summit. What are the trends that drive success downtown, and what are the ongoing challenges in the heart of the city? That's a little later, but first we focus on the housing market in central and southern Kentucky as we hit summer, and it's a time when a lot of people are ready to make their move. What are buyers and sellers looking to do right now? The Lexington Bluegrass Association of Realtors, LBAR, as you may know it, is the largest group of professional realtors in the region. They've been looking over the numbers, keeping a very close eye on what people expect in the home these days. And joining us to talk about that this morning, Justin Landon, who is the CEO of LBAR, and longtime realtor Al Blevins, who is serving as president of the association once again this year. Gentlemen, welcome. We appreciate you very much for coming in today.
It's good to be
Thanks,
here.
Bill.
Thanks.
Let's talk about this. First of all, you know, as we're hitting summer this weekend, some folks try to get out there, get situated, and make that move, I'm sure, while school is out and that kind of thing. What are you seeing out there right now?
Yeah, I would say that this is, of course, the hottest market time of the year. You know, everybody wants to get in before school starts. Once school starts, things start to slow down a little bit. And of course, now that school's out, people are really actively looking. We're seeing a hot market out there. There's a tremendous amount of demand in the marketplace. Good news is prices are not growing as fast as they were growing last year. We're seeing about 4% year-over-year price increase across the entire market, and almost identical inside Fayette County when you isolate Fayette County out. May numbers show that May has accelerated a little bit over where we've been for the rest of the year. But we look like we're in for as hot a summer market as we had last year, if not a little hotter.
So when you describe a hot market, Al, you're talking about the buyers are waiting for homes to come on the market,
yes,
right?
And you know, we've been experiencing a seller's market for a long time, and prices are up, and there's a lot of multiple offers, so buyers are looking. As soon as the house comes on the market, it's not unusual to have multiple offers on the particular houses.
Is there a particular sector, you know, in terms of a price range that is the hottest, and then is there some area where things are a little slower?
Yeah, it seems like in most areas everything's moving pretty well, but you know, in the Lexington market, I was just looking this morning under, you know, 450 from 200 to 450. There's close to 500 pending sales right now. So you know, the 250 range, 350 is hot here, and in your rural areas, you're probably looking anywhere from 150 to 250, 300. So you know, it's still just like the weather. It's different in different areas, and so the real estate market. But the seller's market has been very typical for the last probably year and a half.
Yeah, and we say a seller's market's going to be, or a market in equilibrium will be about 6 months of inventory.
Right.
And right now across our market, we're just over 2 months of inventory, and then in the Lexington Fayette market, we're under 2 months of inventory, and so that tells you that there's a lot more buyers than there are sellers right now.
Which essentially means everything could be sold in a couple of months.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
We
right,
base it on the previous month's sales, and it could be depleted in 2 months or less.
Are there particular areas that you're seeing a real demand for right now within the region?
Yeah, it's hard to sort of to pick out individual neighborhoods. I mean, of course, if you were to look inside Fayette, you could sort of target the neighborhoods that we all talk about all the time, you know, or there's a lot of demand in those areas. What we're seeing, though, is that any neighborhood that's got a lot of inventory under $200,000 is just cooking, because there's less and less new inventory in that $200,000 range, and so older existing neighborhoods with lots of inventory under $200,000. I mean, we're seeing those homes sell in days, not months, not weeks.
So how much of a challenge does Lexington in particular have in providing affordable housing? The entry-level market people can go in and buy. You know, I know it's a hot potato issue when you start talking about opening up more areas for development, and it's controversial because people are so proud of the green space and the horse farms in this area, and it's an important part of who people are in this area. But at the same time, there's nowhere to build in some cases, or so it appears.
Well, and very true, but also too, we see kind of a regional effect happening where people are going out to some of the rural areas and counties and building. One additional thing to that is just having the skilled labor force and the contractors to be able to construct those homes. Lexington's a hot spot, Georgetown, Madison County, Jessamine County, but we have been behind on skilled labor force for some time now, and it's been coming on. But now the trade schools are picking up. You know, I had a customer in the other day. Her one son was in pharmacy school, one was in HVAC school, and I immediately, you know, who's going to make the most money? He already is. So.
Landon, I know, and you've dealt with these issues before in many different capacities, but is it a balancing act right now? Is you know, for developers who would like to open up maybe some new subdivisions, but have a lot of difficulty in identifying places to do that?
Yeah, there's no question here in the Lexington Fayette market. There's a lack of developable land on the table for developers to look at. And that's just a fact of life. You know, this community has strongly supported maintaining the urban service boundary, and that's the decision the community has made. And so as we look at that, I think we have to begin to have a conversation about how we deal with that regionally. Just because we have a lack of land in Lexington Fayette to develop doesn't mean we have less people that want to live here. And so the reality is the demand to live here is higher than it's ever been. We need to begin having a conversation about how we grow regionally, and we've seen that already, right? The Georgetown market, the Madison market, the Jessamine market, all of those are a growth impact largely because of the demand in the Lexington Fayette region and in the county in particular being unmet. And we expect Clark County to probably see some growth in the future years as well. Now, how we move people from those counties into Lexington Fayette every day and back out is a conversation that our various county governments need to start having with one another, so we can have a regional solution and not a patchwork.
Well, and obviously the taxes, the property taxes are going to be paid in an area where the people are there part of the time and they're in another county part of the time. So that's also an issue if there's any kind of a regional pact kind of future there. Let's talk about some other issues. I know you've just been both to a conference and you've been learning about some of the things that new home buyers are facing. We've had a lot of rain in the spring, and even it's, you know, here we are, it's chasing us into summer now. What about flood insurance? Is it increasingly important given the, you know, obvious volatility we have around the country with the weather right now?
It is. It's very expensive, and you know, that's been on our table for many years now. And we're trying to get a long-term solution through federal government and state government, and we go and advocate and meet with their legislators to try to, from NAR, you know, we're the largest trade organization and one of the largest in the country, and they're still working on it. There's a recent solution, I think, like a 5-year term that's on the table to be voted on. Or time for flood insurance, and we've been having to renew it or can't advocate to renew it every year almost.
Every year
it comes up.
Flood insurance has been an ongoing issue. Of course, you can't close a loan on a piece of property that's in a floodplain, and there's several problems with that. Number one of which is the maps are bad, and so should have come as some surprise, I suppose, that FEMA's maps aren't up to date. Well, they're not, and so in a lot of cases, properties that just have a sliver in the floodplain are being forced by lenders to have flood insurance, and understandably so. But oftentimes those maps are bad. So we've been kicking the can down the road with short-term solutions on flood insurance. But recently we had some good news. The House of Representatives passed a flood insurance bill that would be a 5-year solution with 2 major components that would be of huge benefit to homeowners. The first of which would say we're going to try to restart the nascent private flood insurance market, which today it's largely government-backed only. And 2, actually put some teeth into forcing FEMA to update their maps. And if we can get better maps, we can properly price flood insurance more effectively. The reality is if we don't have a flood insurance program at the national level, thousands of properties will not close every month. So it's vital.
When people come to you, they've generally made the decision they want to buy or sell, but what would you say to people out there who are just in that process of considering whether they want to buy or sell at this point? Is home ownership still a good value? Or is it as
Absolutely,
good as it's ever been?
yeah. It builds, and especially now at this type of market, the prices are increasing because of the supply and demand. There's less supply, so the prices go up, and of course that helps their financial statement as well when they go to sell. Right now, they're experiencing some good profits, but definitely a good investment.
Interest rates continue to be stable or could go down.
Sure, they're 4% or less, and it's expected to go down. I always go back to when I was in banking, the prime rate was 21%, and the first mortgage loan I made to someone was 16.75, so 4% or lower is great.
All right. We're coming right back with the folks here from LBAR, the Lexington Bluegrass Association of Realtors. Later, we'll talk about downtown Lexington and the future there. You're watching Kentucky Newsmakers from WKYT. Welcome back to Kentucky Newsmakers on WKYT. We're glad you're with us today. And Justin Landon is here. He's CEO of LBAR, and longtime realtor Al Blevins, who's serving as president of the Lexington Bluegrass Association of Realtors, is with us as well today. You served a term before, didn't you?
I did. I was president in 2013, so right in this seat.
I know you did, and we appreciate that. So long service and experience in the region. And Landon, let me ask you this about what the trends are that we're seeing right now. I know there's the old standard 3-2 on a basement
That's right.
is what people generally are looking for. How does it spread out from there?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, the 3-2 ranch on a basement is sort of a joke in the industry, at least in our market here, that's the standard home that most people are looking for. The new trend now, especially with all the Gen Xers in the market, is multi-generational homes. Increasingly we're seeing people look for places where they can put mom or dad in the home with them as the baby boomer generation continues to age, and Gen X is getting into a financial position where they can afford a slightly larger home. So that's been a big trend of late.
We had the era of McMansions we talked about, where those, particularly out in the subdivisions, they built the big square footage and all of that. Is that still a trend that you see as well, or is there some backtrack from that?
There's a market for that, but especially with the younger generations, they don't want all the upkeep, I don't think, and their parents, we've had consultants tell us about, they want time with their family, they want time with their friends, they want the front porches they can spend time with their neighborhood on, and backyard. So still a demand, but not as much as it used to be.
So what is going on with millennials? Are they interested in home ownership, or is the fact that their levels of ownership are low a byproduct of other debt that they're so often carrying into adulthood?
Yeah, we see that, and we hear statistics about it. I think very much still the American population and consumers are still believing in the great American dream of home ownership. Millennials, coming out, and college students right now are coming out with an average debt anywhere from $28,000 to $38,000 in college loans, and then so if you amortize that, and some of their payments are somewhere between $200 and $300 a month, and then they're making a car payment, and then they have other expenses, rent, whatever it may be. So they have delayed their purchases, but we see now that the job market has picked up. They're getting some of the higher paying jobs that they went to school for, and that's coming together. But it has been delayed. They delayed marriage, they delayed having kids, and it's been for the last 8 years approximately.
What is the condo market like in this area?
Interestingly, when you look at our statistics for this year, we've seen a really hot single-family residential market with prices increasing by 4% across. But actually in the condo townhouse home market, we've actually seen a decrease in the market this year. Now, we don't have enough condos and townhouses to really draw any big conclusions about that. It could just be some noise in the market, but that is what the data shows, is that there isn't maybe quite as much interest in that product right this moment. But again, it's hard to read without more of that inventory.
Single biggest thing that people are looking for when they decide where they want to locate, which neighborhood, what area, and I know realtors have to be very careful in how you direct people to areas, but no doubt there are some things that people have in the backs of their minds when they go to the realtor, right?
Absolutely, and the amenities that are around that they're attracted to for their family, if they have children, if they're single, it's two different things. But yeah, they're looking for close to their job if possible, but there's nothing for people to be commuting 30 and 60 miles a day to Lexington for work. But yeah, whatever their lifestyle is, they want a good neighborhood that's safe and close to whatever amenities they're wanting to use.
Yeah, I would say what people are doing more and more now is they're taking into the holistic life cycle costs of home ownership. Right? They're not just looking at what the lowest price is or the best value for the price they're paying, but they're looking at how much is it going to cost for me to drive to work every day? What is the cost of education for my children? What are the sort of the societal costs of living where I choose to live? And not just looking at the sales price and sort of doing the math on what their payments would be. And I think that's something we've seen in the real estate industry is Realtors doing learning more about how to communicate with their clients about those life cycle costs of homeownership.
People who are considering right now putting their home on the market, preparing the home for sale, what would you have them know, particularly if they want to, say, get something done here in the next couple of months?
Well, I mentor a lot of young people, and I talk about what are the things we can control and what are the things we can't control. And one of the first things is the landscape, the yard. If they're going to market their home, that's the first impression. The kitchen is kind of the hub or the central control of a lot of homes, and so to have first of all, decluttered house, absolutely, but the kitchen, if they need to, paint the cabinets or put in new ones or appliances to spruce it up. The bathroom would probably be number 2. And then just, painting carpet, worn out carpet, just the simple things that, you want to make sure you're going to try to get the return, and depends on what their debt is and what the property values are at the time, but just controlling the simple things of the home.
Some things add more value than others, right, to a home.
It's true, and the math generally shows that kitchens and bathrooms are your best investment, unless there's some holes in the wall or something like that. But generally, investing in upgrading your countertops, upgrading your cabinets, those are where you're going to see the best bang for your buck.
Our next segment, we're going to talk about downtown Lexington and the vitality there. How important is it for homeowners that the heart of their city or wherever their community is, that it be vibrant?
Absolutely, yeah. And Lexington is a great example of that with their Thursday Night Lives, I believe is what they call it, and a lot of other communities that, we have 26 counties that we're involved with in our jurisdiction, and a lot of them have Friday, third Fridays or whatever, which they have a downtown events. But yeah, I think that's the control center, like the kitchen is for the house. The downtown, it's important. People want to be proud of it, and very much an attraction.
Well, we appreciate you coming in, and we'll visit again soon and see how the numbers are holding up. We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Bill. Always glad to be here.
And stay with us on Kentucky Newsmakers. In just a moment, we'll learn about what happened at a summit about the future of downtown Lexington this week. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Kentucky Newsmakers here on WKYT. Great to have you with us. The first Downtown Lexington Summit was held this last week to look at the vitality of downtown and the challenges for the heart of the city. Terry Sweeney is president and CEO of Downtown Lex, and Ethan Howard is the economic development project manager there. And they're both good enough to come in. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
This was the cover of the program for that day, and you had quite a crowd to show up for the summit, huh?
Yeah, over 200 folks that were from the economic development, real estate, and developer community, and some civic and community leaders as well. What
kind of news did you have to share with them about downtown?
Yeah, so we put together a set of key economic indicators benchmarking the health of downtown. And our research shows that downtown is a vibrant, economically powerful, and growing urban core. And it's a center of employment and a hub of hospitality and tourism venues, and then it has a concentration of retail, restaurants, nightlife, and so very successful, very vibrant.
And I'm amazed by the growing number of people who live downtown. That number is incredible.
It is. There's over 24,000 people live downtown. It's something a lot of people don't realize, and would really make it one of the larger cities in the state if you were just looking at that core area. And the demand is still there for more units and for more people are looking to live downtown.
What attracts people to downtown?
I think they like the fact that it's a walkable community. It's close to amenities. There's a lot to offer if you just step outside of your door or wanting to go shop, go eat, go see a show, and really even the convenience to grocery stores, which is one of the common themes that people like to talk about. You're 5 to 10 minutes from a number of grocery stores, and you can really live your life in a pretty small, exciting area.
What else should we know about the economic viability of downtown?
So there's a lot of projects, exciting projects that are going on right now. If you look in the last 5 years, we've had about $2.4 billion in development that's either completed, underway, or has been announced. And so that comes from the private sector, from institutions like UK, from infrastructure projects, and exciting projects like the Town Branch Park.
And let's talk about that. What do you think that eventually will mean to downtown?
Yeah, that'll be transformational because it'll make us more walkable and pedestrian friendly, and linking all parts of downtown. If you think about the emerging distillery district, all the way through the core of downtown to the east side of it. And then hopefully what we'll see is new development spring up around that spine of the Town Branch Commons Trail. And then you have the Town Branch Park. Well, that will also be a real attractor for people to come downtown and hopefully create new amenities, but also bring new development.
City Center is slowly rolling out. You know, one of the restaurants, obviously, Jeff Ruby's is there now. We have the Starbucks, and there's the Keeneland store, and more to come, obviously. This took years. I mean, it was really quite a saga to get to this point. Now that it's here, are you seeing that particular project, the City Center, bring a lot of excitement?
Yeah, I think what you'll begin to see is not only the excitement and momentum, but then the ripple effect out from that of what new types of development and businesses will come surround that. And so hopefully we'll see a great deal of momentum emerge from its completion.
So when one project comes, it sort of gets others jolted.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and you said that type of large project is hard, so it's quite an accomplishment for them to really pull that off, and you really start to see the exciting effects of it.
Yeah.
Of everybody wanting to raise their own standards of the buildings around them, to get new ideas of what they can bring in, whether it's retail or restaurants, and it really has a tremendous effect.
And then from a customer base, you know, it's got I think 150,000 new office space, so that's more workers in downtown, and those workers then will patronize the surrounding businesses. And then Jeff Ruby's will attract customers as well, and they won't always be able to get into Jeff Ruby's, so then they'll start to go to other places in the downtown. So it'll have a real pivotal effect that way. And then when the hotels come online, it now stretches the kind of the convention corridor, right? And so it'll have more of an effect with some of the surrounding businesses, with some of the conventioneers that will come to that spot. So it's going to be very an important part of the momentum for downtown.
It's the first Class A office space added to our city's core in over 30 years. So
Wow.
It's really exciting.
And people would find that surprising. But there's been a cycle downtown. There's, you know, and I've seen the long view. There was retail here, certainly in the 70s and into the 80s, and sort of a rebirth with the Festival Marketplace that was built down at Broadway in Maine, and some other projects that came along over the years. Then there were some years that, you know, it was sort of the courthouse and city offices, and that was sort of about what was going on down there. Now this amazing rebirth. Is that what happens? Do downtowns go through cycles?
Sure, they go through peaks and valleys, and as you mentioned, cycles. It depends a lot on what's happening in the community. You know, in the 70s and late 60s, when the emergence of suburban malls came, it really changed the way downtowns were, and so you always have to work at it. In some ways, that's why our organization exists, is to make sure that we're working to improve the product of downtown, drive customers, and support the businesses, so that we always have a vibrant, successful urban core.
Biggest challenges, and you hear this almost in every town, certainly, parking. Is that still is that the one issue that really needs tackling?
Well, you know, I think it's this way is if you don't have a parking problem, you're not in business, right? And so it's more of making sure we communicate where people can park and how they get there, and then making sure there's some affordable options for parking.
And when you look at what Lex Park is doing, and even the private operators, they're constantly trying to find ways to make it easier, whether it's using an app on your phone so that you don't have to run back and forth to grab tickets, or adding credit cards to meters and things like that, so you're not fishing through your car for change. There's constantly people working to make this easier, and I think that, you know, it's always adjusting to a new digital age. And
Do you think you'll see more and more
changes.
people parking, you know, out of the core and then making their way in by public transit or in other ways? The city just approved scooters. That's coming soon.
Yeah. Well, what's nice is actually in the evening there's a fair amount of available parking. It's more, the occupancies are high during the weekdays, and that's during the office hours. So in the evening there's actually a fair amount of parking available for customers. So it's easy. It's a matter of how close you want to park and how much you want to pay.
What should we know about the future of downtown? What were the questions that came to you in terms of where we're going?
Well, I think you're going to continue to see a strong development pipeline, more residences, and then our universities are growing, and they have a real interest in trying to be better connected. So I think you'll see connections with the universities improve, and then becoming more pedestrian friendly and walkable with the Town Branch Trail and Park, and those things will I think really carry the momentum for 5 or 10 years.
And those are really world-class amenities, and it serves not just the downtown residents and even the adjoining neighborhoods. It's really the entire regions and all of Fayette County and the surrounding Bluegrass.
Yeah.
It's sort of the place where everybody comes to celebrate, to have new experiences, see shows.
Kind of the
visit
downtown
parks.
of an entire region in some ways.
As a matter of fact, our research showed that 80% of the 7-county metro area had been downtown in the last 6 months. And on average, when they came down, they spent over $69 per trip, spent about 145 minutes. And so they're spending time and money. And as we say, it's everyone's neighborhood. It's one place.
Are special events important to draw people down?
Absolutely. There's over 1 million people, 1.5 million, I believe, that come to ticketed events and gated attractions, as well as constantly there's free events that anybody can come attend. The Downtown Partnership puts on concerts every Thursday night at Fifth Third Pavilion, and we have thousands of people come down for that. And so it's a big draw to downtown and a big gathering place for the community.
The summit worked out that you had. Do you anticipate that you'll have others?
Yeah, we'll do a state of downtown each year. You know, it's important for us to benchmark where we're at and over time measure our success and see how we're doing. And so we'll do this every year. And in addition, it's a good way to help package downtown, to recruit people to invest in downtown, locate a business, or do a new development. And
again, this is the attractive cover of the program that you had on that day, and it's downtownlex.com. If people want more information about what you're up to. Thanks for coming. We appreciate it very much. All right. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Kentucky Newsmakers. We'll see you bright and early this week on WKYT This Morning. Hope you make it a good week ahead.